In the Black Out Loud.
Coffee prices are rising in 2025. Here's why. A daily cappuccino is likely to cost significantly more over the next 6 to 12 months, as parched plantations, pirates, and a predilection for a stronger brew all take their toll. By Chris Sheedy. This article has been edited for audio purposes. Article begins. In 2025, coffee bean importers were expecting a bumper crop from Brazil, where more than 1/3 of the global supply of coffee beans is grown annually. Demand for coffee beans had already begun to outstrip supply, with major players and new consumption territories adding to the challenge. A Brazilian batch would help with increasing demand. Instead, at the end of 2024, a drought period took hold in Brazil, causing a substantial fall in production. Major producer Vietnam had just suffered similar drought challenges, and the coffee supply chain in Ethiopia, another top 5 growing country, faced massive risk as it shipped through the Gulf of Aden, a waterway plagued by Somalian piracy and attacks by the Yemeni Houthis. So, a perfect storm brewed. The bean's journey. How do coffee economics work? Stephen Bannister, CPA, General Manager of leading global green coffee merchant Vol Cafe, says the coffee supply chain begins on a tree. Bannister explains, coffee is grown in significant quantities in more than 25 countries around the world. The tree goes through a harvest cycle period of around 8 months. The fruit of the tree is a coffee cherry, but it's not the flesh of the cherry that baristas are interested in. Instead, it's the pit or seed, the bean. Bannister adds, the cherry is picked and processed through a wet mill and a dry mill to finally get the green bean, which is the raw material that is exported around the world. At Coffeecom Trading, we import those beans into Australia for the coffee roasters. Angelo Augello, CEO of Bean Alliance and chairperson of the Australian Coffee Traders Association, is one of those roasters. His business roasts and blends the raw beans, then seals them as whole beans or as pre-ground coffee before they go to market. Bean Alliance clients include supermarket chains, cafes, restaurants, and other food service establishments such as petrol stations and franchised specialty outlets. Augello says, if you look at coffee prices over the decades, you'll see the graph curving up and back down every 10 to 12 years. But this time, we're not going to see that sort of price recovery. The market can't even get the price of inferior coffee back down. So that pushes everything up. No matter the price, importers have to deliver to roasters, and roasters have to deliver to retailers and cafes, who then have to deliver to consumers. Those price hikes must be passed on. Ultimately, the consumer pays. Backwardation. Angelo Augello says that when coffee economics is broken down into demographic segments, the effects of increasing the cost of a cup of coffee can be seen. He adds, whether a cup of coffee is $4, $6, or $8, we know this impacts people's weekly budgets. Stephen Bannister says that the price of coffee throughout the market is highly challenging right now. It has doubled in the last 12 months alone. He adds, we're in a situation no one has experienced before. From a technical trading and coffee supply chain perspective, we have had 5 years of supply deficit. That has led us to where we are today. A report by Coffee Intelligence explains that in a market inversion known as backwardation, prices of coffee on the Coffee C futures market, the global benchmark for Arabica prices, are lower than current spot prices. This signals immediate supply shortages. Angelo Augello says that coffee majors such as Nestle, Starbucks, and JDE Peet's, which owns Moccona, have affected supply for decades. They will sometimes enter a coffee-producing region and buy all the available stock. But now there's a new player from China, Luckin Coffee, founded in 2017, that has more than 20,000 stores. In November 2024, Luckin Coffee signed a 10 billion yuan coffee bean purchase memorandum with Apex Brazil the Brazilian Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. With tastes in China and other Asian territories, including Vietnam and Thailand, moving towards coffee, supply chain pressure can only increase. Coffee as a loss leader. According to Angelo Augello, Australian consumers can likely expect price rises of 20 cents Australian to 50 cents Australian per cup over the next 6 to 12 months. However, the coffee landscape reveals diverse pricing strategies among different market sectors. Augello says, "We have observed retailers introduce budget coffee options. When they implemented this strategy, they saw a significant increase in sales of complementary items. There are also sectors in the convenience market providing affordable coffee options, typically around $1 Australian or $2 Australian. Often, these establishments bundle their coffee offerings with other popular products to add value. Interestingly, some major grocery retailers have been known to offer competitive prices on coffee. Reports indicate that certain supermarket chains have sold a kilogram of beans for as low as $14 Australian. Angelo Augello asks, "Are these retailers employing a loss-leading strategy to attract more customers into their stores? For instance, if I'm sourcing green coffee beans at, say, $13 Australian, and after roasting they experience a natural weight loss of 20%, the per kilogram value moves to roughly 15.85 Australian dollars. This calculation doesn't even account for packaging, labour, or transportation. In this evolving landscape, consumers continue to enjoy a variety of price points, which ensures that quality coffee remains within reach. Seek sustainability. Dramatically increasing demand calls into question the sustainability of the coffee sector in terms of people, price, environment. Organisations such as Fair Trade International design and implement standards that require companies to be independently audited and certified, which helps to ensure better prices and conditions for farmers. Nestlé, which sources coffee from a supply chain spanning 20 countries, is supporting a more inclusive and sustainable future from farm to cup through their Nescafé Plan 2030. SME businesses and suppliers such as Coffeecom and Bean Alliance also report on various sustainability strategies. In Australia, organisations such as Reground help to reduce the carbon footprint of society's caffeine habit. Reground founder and director Nina Larson says, "Wherever there's a coffee machine, there should be a reground bin." Reground collects coffee grounds and delivers them to community gardeners, micro-farmers, Melbourne Zoo, and even to RMIT University, where researchers developed a technique to make concrete 30% stronger with coffee grounds. Larson says, "Coffee grounds can either go into supporting strong climate action and mitigation in the community, or can have quite a detrimental environmental impact. In landfill, coffee grounds break down and emit methane gas, which is 40 times more potent in terms of climate change than what comes out of cars." A Reground report says that through the diversion of over 2 million kilograms of grounds from landfill, Larson's team has prevented over 4 million kilograms of carbon emissions. Larson says, for roasters, 26% to 33% of their total Scope 3 emissions come from the disposal of coffee grounds. It is a very simple solution, and it has a major positive effect.
In the Black Out Loud.